What's up, everybody? Welcome to or welcome back to the Fat Unhinged YouTube channel. I made a video a while back demonstrating my DIY portable power station. But today, I'm going to show you guys how I built it. Okay, guys, first of all, let me show you some of the components that I'm going to use for this build. I got a Mighty Max high rate gel series battery, 35 amp hour. It's a deep cycle AGM battery. I'm going to be using that as my power. Guys, always want to check, make sure your battery's going to fit in there good with everything else that you're going to use. And of course, I already built this once, so I know that this fits well. Although, here's my control panel. You got your switch here, your voltage meter here, 2 USBs, and 12 volt marine plug there. I did have to take these and bend them up a little bit to fit them in there with the battery. And also, guys, in order to install this control panel, you're gonna have to disconnect all of the wires, which is very simple. If you see where it's plugged in there, there's right there, there's a little tab. If you squeeze that, it pulls right off. Alright, guys, if you've seen the video, the previous video, then you already know that I also installed 2 SAE plugs, one for wall charging, one for solar charging, and I installed 2 110, 120, 3-prong plugs. I'm also going to be putting in an inverter, 750 watt inverter that'll power these, and a charge controller, which will control my solar charging so it doesn't overcharge my battery. And for my wall charging, I'm going to be using this charger battery maintainer. So, alright, guys, first of all, I've got to get this thing taken apart, and then I'll show you how I did all my drilling and all that stuff. Okay. Alright, I got my control panel plate here, and what I did with this was I lined it up exactly where I was going to want it. I took my 7/64 drill bit and I pre-drilled these holes. 4 holes, comes with screws. Then what I did is I attached this panel with the provided screws. I got 2 in there now. That's good enough for the demonstration. You can put all 4 in there if you want to. And then I took a Sharpie and I outlined all 4 of these circles. Then I took my Sharpie and I dotted as close to the middle as I could on each one. Alright, next, I took my 1/4-inch drill bit, and in each one of those center dots, I drilled a hole. Okay, now, this is a step bit. I don't know if all you guys know what that is or not, but that's what it is. I got these 2 at Harbor Freight, and this is what I used to drill the circle. Just put it in there, and I drilled down until it got to where the outline was. Perfect hole. Okay, guys, now for the SAE plugs. I did pretty much the same thing. Kind of put them up there, marked around them with a Sharpie, and then I drilled me a hole out with my 1/4-inch drill bit. And then I took my step bit and roughly drilled down far enough where these would comfortably fit in there, but not interfere with my screw holes at all. So see, sucker will fit in there pretty perfectly, really. After I got the holes drilled out for the SAE plugs, put them up there, guys, and I pre-drilled my screw holes for those as well with my 7/32 drill bit. And then I moved on to the 110, 120 plugs. These were a different story though. I didn't have a step bit or a drill bit or anything big enough to drill this out. So what I did was I put them up there, traced it with my Sharpie, took my 1/2" drill bit, I believe it was, drilled right on the edge of that and cut that circle out with my jigsaw. As you can see, that worked out pretty darn well. It'll fit in there pretty snug. So, real snug. Alright guys, we're gonna get to putting this thing back together. Alright guys, now we're gonna go right back to the beginning. We're gonna start assembling this thing. We're gonna put our control panel plate on first. The way that you can tell that this is the top is these little grooves for when you lift the flap up. So, all right, let's get this sucker in place. Grab our screws. And since we pre-drilled, and I did pre-drill for the 120, 110, 120 plugs. I don't know, people call them different stuff, I don't know. But those, I pre-drilled for those as well. So, alright guys, I'm going to get this tightened down. I'm not going to bore you with that, and I'll be right back. Alright. Alright guys, now that we got that tightened down, let's start putting our switch and all of our components back together. Switch goes to the far left, closest to the battery, because that hooks directly to the battery. So we got to get all of our wires through here. Be careful not to mess anything up here. Then we gotta fish this little washer. This is what holds your switch and, you know, your charging ports and all that stuff in. So now we gotta fish that baby over the top of all that stuff, all these wires. It just screws on there. Make sure your switch is straight. Pretty much for appearance. Alright. Put that baby on there. Now, our voltage meter goes on next to the switch. So we'll get that baby put on there. Look at that, nice and snug. That's straight, and it is. And then the USB ports go next to that. Nice and snug. Line that up with that groove. Guys, if you like what you're seeing here today, if you're new to the channel and this is the first that unhinged video that you're seeing, go check out my channel. I've got a lot of videos, shorts. And if you like it, you know, if you like what you see, you know, give me a subscribe. If you like what you're seeing here today, like, subscribe, you know, share if you want to, leave me a comment. I like communicating with you guys. And the 12-volt Marine goes next to the, it's just what I've heard it called, guys. I don't know if that's technically what it is called, but that's what I've heard it called, so that's what I called it. Now guys, you know, you are gonna have screws sticking through here. And what I did the first time that I built this is I couldn't find any of those sleeves that go on the end of screws. You can definitely use those, but I couldn't find any, so what I did was put hot glue on the tips. And of course I had to knock all that off because I had to take the screws out to show you guys how I built this thing, which I don't care. Alright guys, we're all tightened up there. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the SAE plugs in. I install all my stuff, guys, with flaps up. I'm pretty sure that's the way it's supposed to be. But I'm going to go ahead and put the SAE plugs and the 110, 120 plugs. I'm going to screw them down, and then we'll come back and we'll wire everything together. Alright guys, I've got everything tightened down, and now we're going to start hooking everything back up. Each one of these are clearly marked positive and negative, but top is negative, and right, and right, and then bottom is positive, and left. Oh, buddy. There we go. That's actually facing left. But there we have it. And these two are what's going to connect to the battery. This SAE port is what's going to connect to our charge controller, which will then, the charge controller will run directly to the battery. There we go. In the wall SAE cord, I actually installed this fuse between it and the battery on the positive cable. So, yeah. And that will run directly to the battery as well. Okay, guys. I'm going to take my battery, slide it in here very carefully, and make sure I don't disrupt anything here. There we go. But don't forget, if you got to, bend up these prongs. It's not going to hurt them. That'll go to positive. That'll go to negative. Got our charge controller hooked up already. Gonna get our inverter in here. Squeeze that baby in here. Got that in there. Alright guys. Now, all we got to do is run everything to the battery. Get everything going here, get everything together, make sure I got all my ducks in a row, guys, and I I will be back in just a minute. Alright guys, now to hook everything to the battery, which that part, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. You know, all the red wires go to positive, all the black wires go to negative, but the negative wire for my charge controller actually has red and black, but the fact that it has black in it lets me know that that's the one that goes to the negative, because that one's solid red. So we take all of our red wires, make sure we got them all here, and we do. Into the positive. Make sure we're not intertangling anything here. Turn out everything here, and I do. All right. Whoa, 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 whoa. Guys, charge controller is working. Oh, don't want to forget that. All right, guys, I got to get these plugged into the inverter. There we go. Back down in there again without breaking anything. There we go. There we go. Alright guys, everything's hooked up as it should be. So then we just carefully place everything inside here. There it is, guys. If you want to see this thing in action, go check out my demonstrating my DIY power station video. And I demonstrated 3 different appliances on it. Pretty cool video, so go check it out. Alright guys, hope you liked the video. If you did, like, subscribe, share if you want to. But that's how I built it. So hopefully I'll see you on the next one. No matter where you go in life, don't forget where you came from.